Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN, 8:30 a.m. Friday morning, 60 minutes to go until the opening bell. And guess what, folks? We got negative action going on in the markets. Been a little while since we've woken up with the S&Ps. Down about 28 points right now, trading at 38.18. Got the NASDAQ 100 off 87 points, 13,307. The Dow giving back 238 points right now at 30,844. And you got the Russell off more than a full percent, off 22 points at 21.15. Bitcoin, we'll call it flat, made it down to 28,900. Interesting story about Bitcoin. We'll talk about that in a moment, hitting the press. We got crude down at $1.64. Check out that drop from last night at $53. We're down at $51.50 right now. You hit $51.44 just a few minutes ago. Crude giving back some of the gains it's had recently. Gold contract pulling back as well. Gold down to $18.38. We were at $18.70 last night. Quite the move for gold. Silver following gold's lead, off about 70 cents at 25.16 this morning. And notes and bonds, a little bit of higher price and lower yield. We got the 10-year at 1.08% right now. You're talking about a yield of 1.08% on that 10-year yield. And we'll jump over to the volatility index. Go figure, folks. We got a higher VIX this morning. Hasn't happened in a little while. You got to go all the way back to a week ago, last Friday. I mean, look at that. Last Friday, we hit 25.80. If you recall, the S&Ps, we'll pull it up, actually. S&Ps, when you look at last Friday's action, if you recall, we accelerated lower at 10 a.m., accelerated lower into the close of the long weekend from Martin Luther King, tying it back to the VIX. That correlates to the spikes we saw here. And then this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, lower prices as the market crept higher. But look at it. I mean, look how quickly the VIX gets back to where we were on last week, 7 days ago. You know, we trade higher, higher, higher. VIX goes down to 21. Market's a little dicey this morning, and boom, just like that, you have the VIX back to about 23.50, right where we were as of last Friday's action. All right, speaking of action, we got a couple stocks with action this morning. IBM not living up to expectations last night in a big way. Look at this drop on IBM. You're down more than $10 right now. You're trading at 120.48. Putting this on a daily for some context. Now, you don't have the acceleration so far this morning, but we're going to open at about 120. You're now back right at this area. I mean, you got a couple gaps here all over the place. The last earnings, which is interesting, you gapped right below the 120 area. IBM getting into what they had to say in terms of their numbers. So one of the things, you had declining revenue for the fourth consecutive quarter, and the company again declined to provide earnings guidance for the full year. Combine those two, not exactly what investors want to hear. Earnings, they beat, but revenue, they miss. You don't want to see people taking in companies, you don't want to see companies taking in less revenue and somehow turning a profit. You know, you can't cut expenses as a way of growth. Yes, it's good for investors that they made more than the market was looking for, but if you have shrinking revenue, that's a problem. Revenue falling 6% on an annualized basis, the fourth consecutive quarter of declines. Revenue had not fallen so sharply in 5 years. It's a tough one, folks. I mean, the cloud, they're having a real tough time competing here. IBM's cloud and cognitive software segment that includes Red Hat should be like, one of the areas that's really growing, that's really going to be the promise of the future for IBM. $6.84 billion in revenue, down 5% year over year. You're not supposed to be shrinking in that market, folks. The market was looking for $7.18 billion. They come in at 6.84, down 5% year over year. Global technology services, $6.57 billion, down 6%. The market was looking for 6.92. Global business services, $4.17 billion, down about 3%, but a slight beat there, but still down. I mean, all over the place, right? Systems revenues, $2.5 billion from sales of mainframe computers and other hardware, down 18%. The company's comparing its period when systems revenue rose from a new mainframe. Nonetheless, I mean, you look at the one that really sticks out to me here is this one. The cloud and cognitive software segment that includes Red Hat, down 5% year over year. Not what you want to see, not what the market wants to see. And IBM reacting this morning. They got some work to do before Big Blue trades higher in a big way so far this morning. The other big earnings announcement last night was Intel. Interesting for many reasons, Intel. You have Intel accelerating higher into earnings. You really have it accelerate higher in the final couple minutes when they announce earnings, like 2 to 3 minutes. Let's put it on a 1 minute just to see when this thing really pops. We'll zoom it in last night. I'm guessing right about here was maybe when they announced the earnings at 3:47 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe it popped out here, 3:46. You see the volume start to crush into this thing as they come in for the final 10, 11, 12 minutes of their earnings announcement. Now you'd say, what was up with that? Did somebody hit a fat finger and release the earnings a little bit prior to 4 p.m. Eastern time? Not exactly what happened when you look at it. So Intel says an earnings slide may have leaked early, which is why it released results before the close. You saw it shoot up on those numbers because top line, bottom line, some pretty decent numbers when you get into it. Here's Intel. In terms of the numbers they had, earnings per share, $1.52 versus $1.10. Revenue, $20 billion versus $17.49. Forecast 2020 revenue, $18.6 billion, earnings $1. So you get these headlines, right? Market stacks jumps higher, but then, of course, the details come out. The conference call comes out. They get a new CEO. He's going to be in that role February 15th. Paul Gelsinger, the Intel CEO, he was on the conference call last night, does not take over until February 15th. But they're talking about that they're going to be producing still a majority of their chips in-house by 2023, but they're going to use other fabricators for some specialty areas of their production. Nonetheless, they got to get their act in gear, folks, and it'll be interesting to see where Intel opens this morning in terms of there was the spike higher. Here's your conference call beginning at about 61.50. You see the drop off in terms of what they're talking about, and we've just been trading at about 59.50, a little bit lower so far, coming in at 59.26 on Intel this morning as they look to open, down from where we were at the spike last night, but not really fair to judge it when you trade. You had 10 minutes to trade this equity on just basically headlines. Then they come out with the numbers. You had 10 minutes to factor it in, but look at the action this morning. Intel trading down to about 59.16. We got the S&Ps down about 0.7%. NASDAQ down 0.6%. The Dow off 0.7, and the Russell. Volatility continues, down 1.1%. Stay tuned, folks. We got a lot of action to cover for Friday morning. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The gold report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The gold report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The gold report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the gold report now. Protect your buying power. Order the gold report now.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We have the markets in negative territory. S&P is negative by about 25 points so far this morning at 38.20. I got a 5-minute chart up here. You see the action in terms of 38.59, the highs. That was late Wednesday night coming into early Thursday morning. We basically slid lower since then. You see the action we had yesterday in terms of spiking lower in the open, testing that level yet again at about noon before accelerating higher. But since the close of yesterday, quite an acceleration to lower prices. Of course, we get IBM trading dramatically lower, weighing on the market as well this morning, 38.20 right now in the S&Ps. What else we got going on? Jumping around some of the stories. AMC Entertainment down a bit this morning from 3 to 288. This stock. Talk about some volatility, folks. Remember when, let's put this even on a 3-year weekly for a little context here. If you recall, when AMC in November had made it back to basically almost an even, no, I believe it was August. Time is crazy, folks. Maybe it was August that we got right back up to where we were prior to COVID. I remember having conversations saying, how is it possible that the movie theaters are trading at a price level equivalent to a world prior to COVID? Well, we saw what happened then, right? We trade lower. And even, I think it was when we were talking about even November 23rd, putting this on, a daily. And the reason why I'm talking about this, you have movie houses pushing back again, expectedly so, you could say, some of the releases coming up. But yeah, in November, we got up to $5 on this equity, folks. When you're talking about the equity was trading at, in January, it was trading at $6.23. And you got up to $5. Well, that didn't take long. Down to $1.91. We're sitting at $2.98 for AMC. Stories out there talking about No Time to Die, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Uncharted, Hollywood delaying some movies, not too surprising. No Time to Die, pushed back through to October. You think that's 9 months from right now. Hopefully 9 months from right now. The world is a much different place. Not going to be rid of COVID, but hopefully we're well over the hump at that point. I'm sure movie executives thinking the same thing. On Thursday, MGM and Sony both announced that major films from their 2021 slate would be postponed. You got No Time to Die, you got Ghostbusters and Cinderella, among others, as they look to push it back. You're talking about October, you're talking about June, July, November, and even February of next year as the movie houses try and push back to a time when we might be more comfortable sitting in a movie theater surrounded by other people. Airlines. So, again, COVID. You're seeing these restrictions where the light at the end of the tunnel is bright, folks, but we're not quite there yet. And you're seeing the implications. The new strain, so contagious. And when you look at things here, just 1 second, you really take a look at where these airlines are. So France already said that from Sunday, it's going to require citizens from other EU countries to have a negative PCR test 72 hours before departure. Now, in the U.S., when you have international travelers, right, it's something that there's plenty of people, but the EU, the way that you're crossing borders in the EU is just much more profound, because as a member of the EU, you're able to have an EU passport and travel over those borders. So you're seeing some shutdowns here. You're seeing airline stocks trading a little bit lower this morning. American Airlines, this is already almost priced in, right? American, we're down. There's your chart. We're jumping around, basing near the bottoms, basically, as we wait to get out of COVID. Down a little bit this morning, though. And there you see the pop on some of that news, down to 1557. Delta Airlines, you see a little bit of pop as well. United, again, a little bit of a pop down to lower prices. Domestically, Southwest, same thing. You're seeing it, 47.13 right now. And JetBlue shares right now trading a little bit lower as well to 15.08. The market's trading lower on top of this, so a lot of variables coming into play, but airlines not out of the woods just yet. All right, what other stocks we have going on? You know what I'm going to jump to, though? Bitcoin. I talk about it because it's important, folks. Bitcoin, it's so sensationalized that hopefully novice investors are not being sucked into this market at a time that might be one of the worst times to be sucked in at highs. Now, this one is interesting because double spend. I had not heard of this one. And yesterday, I guess Bitcoin, the largest crypto, was trading lower. And I'm not a fundamental genius in the crypto sector, folks, but what they're talking about here is that there was actually like a double. Here it is. There was a stale Bitcoin block Friday. It appears as if a double spend. So it's only $21 was detected. And I had talked about this before when you talk about, look at how if you've never traded Bitcoin or bought Bitcoin or sold Bitcoin, you can trade it 0.0006, right? You say, buy me $20 worth of Bitcoin. So sure thing, 0.006432 Bitcoin. But what happened is that you almost had a double spend, as in the ledger is supposed to be almost impeccable, right? Bitcoin was created with the intention of being a digital currency that doesn't require any centralized authority. Instead, bank software handling electronic transfers, Bitcoin is transacted on a blockchain, basically a spreadsheet that logs when coins move and to where. Transactions are entered on a blockchain after an unaffiliated third party verifies the deal, often an exchange. The blockchain is supposed to be immutable. This is a pretty key element to Bitcoin. Be interesting to see how this shakes out. Helping to prevent fraud and making transactions irreversible. A double spend would effectively mean the blockchain had been manipulated, obviating Bitcoin's heralded security claim. Merchants often wait for a payment to be verified as many as 6 times. In the case of the reported double spend, a transfer was apparently verified only once, entered on the ledger, and then revoked. Again, I really don't understand the fundamentals of how important this could be, but it's rare to consider a payment final after only one confirmation. What likely happened is that 2 blocks, a crypto term for verification, had the same transaction from the same address, but one entire block was ultimately excluded. And still, nonetheless, you look at searches for Bitcoin double spend, there's your spike on Google searches over time, and you have Bitcoin trading lower. Something to keep your eye on, because that ledger is supposed to be basically perfection, which is what Bitcoin is built on. I'd be interested to see how that snuck in there yesterday. Another interesting article I was reading about there, you got oil trading lower, not really from this article, but you talk about interesting when there's millions at play, folks. If there's a will, there's a way. Let's put it that way. China imports oil doctored to skirt U.S. sanctions on Venezuela. Great article out here last night from Bloomberg talking about the depths that people and traders are going to hide Venezuelan oil, which is under an embargo. Invoices you have, basically traders go to disguise the origins. They'll go as far as maybe putting additives in that. Here it is, treated with chemical additives off the coast of Singapore, reappear on the market as cargoes with new names such as Sigma or simply a butamin mixture. Interesting when you think about the the action's in place. Bloomberg saw documents for at least 11.3 million barrels of Venezuelan oil that were sold by Swiss Oil and delivered to China last year under the guise of other names. Now, of course, you have them getting sanctioned and so forth. But it is tough when you get so much money at play, putting an embargo on a company like Venezuela, when traders across the globe see that money and they're pushing it as hard as they can. Okay, what else we got going on? Stocks making moves. We talked about IBM. They're the big one. Intel's the big one out there as well. But some other companies with earnings. We got Schlumberger out with their numbers. They're talking about 22 cents a share. That's a beat. Revenue, a beat as well. Schlumberger's bottom line helped by a rebound in demand as oil prices rose. Well, let's see how Schlumberger is doing this morning, because we got oil down about $1.50. There you go. This morning, they spiked lower, actually, from $24.19 to $23.92. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back, finish up the show, see what else we have going on for Friday action. We'll be right back.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as,
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
you see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. I got a chart of Tesla up here. Got to check in on Tesla. Pulling back today, 833 Tesla. Pretty marginal action when you consider the run up it's had. Now, Tesla getting into earnings. So we had some earnings companies this week, of course. We just talked about Intel, IBM, two of the big ones last night. Netflix crushing out of the park, of course. Earlier this week, checking on Netflix, holding pretty well above, this level in terms of spike to 593 on Wednesday initially on their numbers. Sitting this morning at about 575 on Netflix shares. Now, next week, we kick into some of the big dogs. We have Microsoft on Tuesday. So Microsoft, you check out a daily here. Quite the consolidation we're at, and man, we're right up at the upper boundary of this line. This morning, actually, we're coming in at about 225.64. I just drawn this little bit of a linear regression where exactly we are in terms of the top of this trading range. Technical analysis and art, not a science sometimes, but as you see, we're pushing up to the higher end of that boundary, coming right into earnings. Microsoft, again, their earnings on Tuesday, January 26th. And then on Wednesday, we get, I believe, let's pull it up. I think it's going to be Apple and Facebook. Yes, Apple, January 27th. Now, Apple, pretty similar area. Really, really interesting coming into the highs. You get the high of September 2nd, that high, 137.98. We're trading at about 136. The high we had from December 29th, about 138.79. And what did I say? 137.98. So about $1 away. But as you see, pushing into those highs, coming into earnings for Apple. We also get Facebook coming out on Wednesday as well. Facebook, a little bit of a consolidation, different scenario there, but they'll be out on Wednesday. And then the following week, it kicks in as well. I believe we get Tesla shares coming out with their earnings on... No, Tesla's going to be on, is that Monday? Wednesday. So Tesla's going to be on Wednesday too. So we get Microsoft on Tuesday. We get Apple, Facebook, and Tesla on Wednesday. And then the following week, you get Amazon and Google, I believe on Tuesday, along with so many others. So it's a big week. We'll see what happens. Look at that Tesla chart, just basing right at the 840 area. Stay tuned, folks. We got a man, Larry Pesavento. He's coming up next with Trade What You See. I'll be back at 10 o'clock with Tom. Live programming all Friday at TFNN. Thanks, folks.